There is quite a lot of things to get through, but I think most of you, if you've done learning docs before, there it should be quite familiar of the tools that I'll be using. It's pretty much the same. So if you attended the webinar a few weeks ago, I'll be going through in a lot more detail today. So these are all the different topics that I'll be going through today. And as we go through them, I'll be ticking them off. Just a heads up, if Kiang has made a custom program for your sensor in the past, you may not have access to this just yet. If you wanted to let us know, send us an email at devs@OWNA or at support@OWNA, and we'll see what we can do in order for you guys to have access to both of your custom program that Kiang's already built and also to the new programming platform. Okay, so I'll get started. I'll just quickly switch over to the portal. So as you'll see in the new programming here, there's a new section here called Programming Templates and Experience Templates. I'll be going through each one in detail, but to get started, the first thing I'll be working on is building a program template. So with the new custom programming, when you create a new one, you've still got the ability to access your existing ones, which are the standard template, standard block, and upload your own PDF. So that still exists, and if you wanted to keep using that, more than happy to. It will work exactly as it is, and with the new custom programming, it builds on top of that. So, but the only thing is that with the custom programming, there's a lot of new features that you'd be missing out on if you don't use the new custom program. So to get started, the very first thing that you'd have to do is build a programming template. So in the programming template section, if you haven't used it yet, this will be empty. I've noticed that there's a few centers that already started using this. Hopefully you guys were able to get through that everything correctly, but today we'll go in more detail. So if you did miss something, hopefully we'll catch it all today in this training session. So the very first thing you're doing here to get started with custom program is to create a new program template. Okay, it's similar to creating a learning doc. You can use the existing templates that we've got here. If you're doing a single block program or a weekly block program, it's already pre-filled for you. So the entire form is already being completed. And the only thing you really have to do here is just customize a few things. If you wanted to get rid of some things, you can. For example, the framework, learning frameworks, any of the experiences feedback. I know the existing one had quite a lot of fields in there. We kept them all just in case you were using them, because this form is backwards compatible, and to make sure that the existing printouts and information that was there previously should remain intact. But if you wanted to get rid of any of these fields, if there's too many fields, remove them, or if you wanted to rename some of them, you can. But the only thing really you have to do is click on any of these templates to get started. So really the only thing I've done here is click on new and click one of these templates, and it's pre-filled everything for me in here. Okay, also just take note, there's an information button here that you can click on. So Chris has built all of the help systems, so that way if you ever get lost, click on the eye and the information for how to work on this page, you'll have a guide on how to use it. But you can always get back to the YouTube video that we're going to put up once we've completed this training. So in here, I'll just put a title, training one. I'll mark this as active. So the same thing applies in here. If you're a multi-center and you're within a group, if you're the main center that want to handle the programming template, you guys can just click this box and it'll be shared across your group. And if you wanted to share your format for your own program template in the marketplace, you can do that as well. Exactly the same as the learning docs. So now that I've created a training day one and marked it as active and hit save, I should be able to view our add a program, and it should appear in here as training day one. Okay, so the first step in here of creating a programming template, it's pretty straightforward. And in order for you to continue, you're going to need to build an experience template as well. So if you didn't have an experience template, you wouldn't be able to create or populate the matrix. And I'll go through what that is once we create a new program. So now the next step is to create a new experience template. Again, exactly the same process. You go to the experience template, clicks plus, and you can use one of our experience templates that are already pre-populated in here. Okay, so these are the fields that we require. The title, pretty much the only one that's pretty important at the beginning. But down the track, you'd probably want to be able to populate the experiences on what the experience is about. I'll go through down the track on this evaluation whether you guys are going to need it or not, but we kept it in the template anyway, because we've rebuilt the whole evaluation of experiences and program. So now that I've picked a template, I can just give this a name, training experience. I'll get as active and hit save. So that's the two templates that you require in order to be able to use the custom programming. So you just need a programming template and also an experience template. I'll go through in more detail on how to fully customize each one of these, but I just wanted to get us started. So that way we've got an actual program that will be updating as we go through the whole agenda. All right, so now that I've got a program template and experience, I can now add a new program. Okay, so let's pick our training day 1. And anything that's got a star or asterisk are mandatory fields in order for you to hit save as a draft. Okay, so we'll fill this in. Working with children day 1. Okay. There's this toggle switch in here. So the moment that I hit publish on any of my programs, and this is ticked, it creates an entry in your timeline. So that means that the parents will be able to see what this program looks like, and it will, as the program evolves, the program timeline will also update, and it gets moved up to the top of your post. So that way the parents will always see what changes that's been done in this program as the week goes along. So I'll just untick this for now. Topics, let's pick one. Let's go coloring. Let's get painting. 14. Let's say let's go. All right. So with other customizations in here, you'll be able to upload your own background image. Again, I'll go through in more detail how you would do that in another section of the training. Attachments, this is where you'd upload if you've got additional information like PDFs or any images that would describe a bit more detail about your program. So you have that option in here as well. And if you did create a post, any attachment that you have in here will show up in the post. So if it's a private PDF that you want to upload, you can add another one of these file upload to your template. But these attachments will be available to the parents as well because it will show up in the post. All right, so now we've filled in most of these mandatory fields. I can hit save as draft. I don't need to worry about the programming matrix right now, but I can do that in the edit mode. Okay, once I hit save, I'm now in the editing mode. Okay, so there'll be a lot more information in the edit mode compared to the add mode. There you can customize as well which fields will be displayed in the ad compared to what's being shown here in the edit. Okay, so this way, if you wanted your staff when they're creating a program to have any of these fields to be visible during the creation and mark them as mandatory, you can do that. But from what we've created so far with the template, I think it should be enough for you guys to work with, and as you use it a little bit more and get more comfortable with it, then you can start to customize on what mandatory fields your staff should be filling out. Okay, so that's creating a new custom program. So there's really not much in there in terms of difficulty, because most of the work has been done for you guys. So we've created all the templates that you guys need, and with adding a program, it's pretty much standard to what you guys do now, except that you'll have your own program type that's available in the dropdown. As long as you've marked your programming template as active, it will appear in this dropdown. Okay, so editing your program and customizing the matrix. So this part here is probably the most important one, where you'll be putting a lot more thought in on how you guys want to run the program for the week, or if it's just a single block. All you really need to do in here is to get started is to click on the plus to add your categories. Okay, you can add the same category more than once. So if you wanted to have arts and craft indoor, I can add the same one twice. Okay, so there is no limitation on how many times any of these categories appear. So if you want to do an arts and craft indoor for group and give that a color, let's say khaki, and you wanted to change this one to group to focus children, green. All right, so you can do that. You can add as many categories as you want in here as well. So if you want to do an outside group, you don't have to pick a color if you don't want to, but if you wanted to create some separation between each one of these categories, it will come up as well in the printout. So as you create them, you start to see some separation in here. And also, if you click on the diary mode is like a bit more information on what each one of these experiences contain. So at this stage where we're at, all we've done in here is added all of our rows for our matrix. I can hit save as draft in here as I go along. So if you did make any changes, let's say I added a new column in here, test, you'll notice that this changes color. That means if you have any pending changes, you won't be able to close down this form. So you shouldn't lose any changes, but you do still need to click save draft or publish program if you've got unsaved changes. Okay, if you did switch to another page, it will tell you, okay, that there's some changes pending, and you can hit cancel. So you don't accidentally click out if you have made changes to your program. If I just delete this. Okay, so as you're adding in rows, you can also customize your columns. So you can add more columns if you need to. You can click on any columns if you wanted to edit any of the details and any of the description. Let's say I wanted to just call this canvas, and we'll add another column. Painting. All right, so each one of these boxes or cells, they're learning experiences. This is where you populate the information based on the experience templates that you created. So the experience template that we created just then was called training experience day 1. You can apply that to the cell by hitting apply, or you can apply to the entire row. So in this case, if I apply to here, it adds it to both. Okay, so if this column doesn't need an experience or nothing is happening for that day, then you can just get rid of it, hit OK, and it'll just remain as a plus. If you, for example, wanted to populate just this first one, let's say you're just working on this experience for the day. So focus child, trees, and stuff. So that is happening on the 14th. But the template in here is what we've customized in the experience template. If you wanted to change them, you can. If you don't need goals for each one of the experiences, you can just remove them, or any of the frameworks that's been added in the template. You can add more framework if you need to. So in this case here, all I really need to fill in is the title, and also the experience here is mandatory. Again, I can hit save, and if I'm not sure as a staff on what to fill in at this section at this stage, I can just hit save changes. And if you go into diary mode, this will show a little bit more details what you filled in. Okay, so you can switch between the two. So it's if you're working more on the columns and the setup of each one of these categories, you'd want to do that in the table mode. But if you wanted to look at a bit more detail, you can do most of the things in the diary mode, except for adding new rows and columns. So you can actually add the experiences, assign experiences in the diary mode, and edit any of the information that's in here. Anything that's mandatory, you'll notice in here, even though I hit save and the experience is a mandatory field, it will show in the diary mode that it's not filled in. And also I won't be able to mark this as completed because if you wait OK, it will tell me you have not completed all the mandatory fields. Okay, so I will need to fill this in if I wanted to publish this program as is, but I need to complete the experiences first. Experience the okay. You can upload any images that you'd want in here. Upload some. Save changes. All right, now that I've completed this, if you wanted to preview what it looks like in completeness, you can hit that I to view what it looks like. If you wanted to customize the images to show in the actual diary mode, you can do that as well. But it probably wouldn't be a good idea to show the images, because if you did put 20 images for this experience, it may clutter up this page. So better off just keeping this to a bare minimum in the diary mode. And if I publish this now, actually, I'm gonna mark this as completed. And hit publish. All right. So now I have a program that's been completed with one experience and with a few categories in there. Okay, if I wanted to preview what that looks like in here, you'll notice that in the preview mode, it shows the same information as what you got now in the diary mode. Okay, I'll just go back to the edit and just check my agenda, make sure that I don't miss anything. Okay, so editing your program, you got customizing the matrix. Let's go back to editing. So back to diary mode. So if you wanted to customize any of the columns, again, just click on that. And also if you wanted to delete is there. If you wanted to get rid of that whole column. If you did make a mistake, you can just refresh your page, right? Pressing F5 and then just hit say reload. Okay, and then we'll just revert it back to what it was. but it will warn you that you will lose all your changes if you do leave the page or if you try and refresh the page. If you're clicking on any of these as well, allows you to edit any of the information that you need. If you wanted to get rid of the row, hit that, and that's how you delete your columns and rows. And you can also change their order. So if you wanted to put painting on booklets first, you can drag that there. And if you wanted to do the group first, you can drag that up there as well. So you got that full customization where they're going to go. What else can you customize? So within here, if you highlight, if you've assigned an experience, the menu will pop up. But if you haven't assigned any, the only thing that you have is the plus. So in this case here, if you wanted to copy the information that you have in here for this experience to, let me just put this back over here and up there, the following day. So let's say this experience is carrying on to the next experience that they have in here, or the focus children. I can just hit copy, and I can just copy it to this one. Okay, so now these two will have all the information that you've got initially, so that way you don't have to fill out which children, the titles, and everything else will be copied over. And the only thing you'd probably want to change in here would be the experience. If it's a different experience, then you can update that. Any additional images that you want to add to that, you can as well. So in this case here, our children learn to paint. So you can copy that across. The name here that appears, training experience day one, that's the name of your template. So you'll always know which template has been used. So you can actually use a whole different templates for each experience. So if I wanted to use one of Chris's template, awesome experience, I can apply that to this one. And to see what it looks like, just hit edit, and it's the same as the other one. So he just called it awesome experience, but it will show up here anyway as what the name of the experience is. And also in here, I can just add completely different experience as well. So I could say standard learning experience or learning experience custom. So you can have completely different experiences for each one and capture different type of information. So you've got full customizability there. I'm just going to delete this as well. If you hit delete, it will clear out this, and there won't be any more experiences for that day or for this experience for this section. And I'll delete that one as well. All right. So when you've completed an experience, you won't be able to edit it anymore, but you can mark it as not complete if you wanted to make additional changes. Okay. So it's important that once you do complete it, that it is completely filled in. If you don't want to have to go back and uncomplete it, mark it as incomplete and hit an edit. So in this case, I keep clicking that button. Mark as complete. That one's done. Now if I hit publish program, actually I won't publish program. I'm gonna need to customize one more thing. Adding backgrounds. So I'll do adding backgrounds and uploading attachments. So background images will normally show up. Click on, let me just publish this. View background. The gray area in here is what gets populated with the background. So if I hit edit, and normally the background that you want to use are repeating patterns type of background. You probably would want to use like a framing background, like an image with a square right in the middle, because it won't fit, because the way the background works is it tiles it. So if I wanted to use an actual background, I've got a few samples in here. And let's say I want to use rainbow. Okay. So this is a repeating background. So this type of images are good for tiling. Look at cats. Okay. Again, the same thing in here. There's no issues with using these type of images. But if you use an image like Um, if you use an image like this, it may not turn up very well because it will end up repeating and it may not show up quite well in printing. So you're better off looking for some HD background images that repeats. In this case, I'm just going to use a rainbow one. And you can customize how much to cut in and out. So you can zoom in and out on the image. I'll just use part of that. And that's pretty much all you have to do. So with attachments, you can attach PDFs to your program, and that will show up in the post. So if I just upload a sample PDF, and what I'll do is I'll mark this as show in timeline and hit publish program. Okay, so now that the background is set, if you go to preview, you'll notice that the background now has that rainbow image right across. Okay, and when you hit print program only, it will show up in here as well in the background when you hit print. So it's just a little customization that you can do to make the program printout look a little bit more prettier. Let me just go back to agenda. So we've got editing, adding attachments. Okay, now that I've ticked show in timeline, I just want to quickly show you what it looked like on the app. Okay, so you notice that this is the program that we just created. So if you drill down a little bit more, it will show the parents, what the information are, the experiences that the kids will be learning. It doesn't show the children's names. Even if you do tick show in post, if the parents won't see the children's names. And then you've got the attachment here, which is the PDF. Okay, which they can view if they wanted to have a read of it. And any additional images in here as well will be scrollable like a standard post. And from within the mobile app, you will, as a staff, you'd be able to edit from within here. It will take you to the page similar to the learning docs, where you get taken to a web view with all of the fields that you can edit. You can change a lot of the things in here. You can edit your, oops. Okay, so the table view in here, it is scrollable. And if you did wanted to click and edit any of these, you need to click on the cell and hit edit. In this case, that one's not editable. And you'd be able to edit this like a standard form. So you can put all your information that you need in there, upload any images. Save that, publish the program. And that's some of the changes that you can do within the mobile app. So if you had an iPad, you'll probably have a better view. I'm doing this on a mobile phone simulator. So it may look a bit cramped if you're doing editing on the mobile phone. Okay, so customizing the backgrounds and attachments, there are additional things that you can do to customize your program, but they're not mandatory. Okay, so adding customizations to program and experience templates. So probably delve into a lot more detail in here, and this is where it may get a little bit confusing because there are quite a lot of things that you can turn on and off. Okay, so if you go back to programming templates, I'm just going to minimize my screen so that way I can tab in and out of this. Programming templates. All right, if I'm editing this template, so this is the template that's being used in here. If you wanted to add an additional text box in here, the program itself will update itself automatically. So if I wanted to add another title, let's call this one subtitle. I don't need a field mapping. Okay, and hit save and refresh my program. It will pick up that the program template has updated and update the form itself. Okay, so compared to the learning doc at the moment do have that ability, but you have to manually update it because you don't. What we don't want to happen is you guys not knowing or that you've updated the template or someone's accidentally updated the template in the learning doc and it removes some of the information that's critical to the learning doc. So, but with programs, as it's constantly evolving, we allowed for you guys to do that. So you can make changes on the fly on how your template's going to look like. Again, because it could be something that you guys are working on throughout the week and you see, okay, I want to capture something else. I want to capture a new type of information about the children that doesn't apply to a specific text box. So this way, at least you have that ability to add new different fields in if you have to. All right, so with a lot of the fields in here that you can customize, there's a checkbox called show and edit only. Okay, so if I create a new program, notice that the subtitle that I've created, it's not ticked for show and edit only. So that what that means is if I add a new program, and pick training day 1, the subtitle will be visible. But if I created my program, I updated my template to say that the subtitle will only be available in edit only, and hit save. So now if I'm creating a new program and pick training day 1, the subtitle won't be shown. So this way it doesn't clutter up, or it speeds up you creating a program easily. Otherwise, if the whole form is displayed, you'd have to fill out quite a lot of, you'll end up seeing a lot more fields than necessary. So you have that ability to turn off things that you don't want to be showing in the add screen. So in this case here, I'll just leave this one off to show and edit only. So now if I'm editing my curriculum program, it will still appear on this screen. Okay, so in the programming template, I think that's the only checkbox in here that you can customize. Show and summary. Oh, there's show and summary. Okay. This one's quite important. Show and summary. So the summary screen is this screen. Okay. It really only applies to anything below the programming matrix. Anything above here, we've kind of customized so it will display. But anything below you can turn on and off. Oh, sorry, programming matrix, anything below you can turn it off to be displayed. Okay, so if, for example, I'm just gonna, so by default, all of them would have show and summary to true. Yeah, so the template that we've created for you guys, they're all true. Anything below the programming matrix will be displayed if it's filled out by the user. So in this case, if I edit this and fill out custom tags and any of the frameworks, publish program, oops. Just in there, publish program. And hit view summary, you'll see that the learning frameworks will be displayed in here. Okay, but if you don't want the custom tags to be displayed, you can edit the template and just turn this off, show and summary. So that's pretty much all it is, the show and summary. Hit save. And now if I refresh my template, it will hide that tag, custom tags framework. Again, it's up to you what you want to show and display. If you just want things to be available in edit mode, then you can turn off show in summary. Otherwise, all of anything that's been filled in by your staff will be displayed. For example, like the experiences, if once they're filled in the template, they will be displayed. Otherwise, they won't be shown in here as one of these sections. All right, customizing. So that's the customizations of the program. The experience template is a lot more customization involved in there. So if we go to editing experience, all right, if I hit the title, these are all your different things that you can turn on and off. Okay, show in summary is this mode. So anything that gets shown in here, not sure why that's showing up with some numbers. Not the children's name. Must be something must have gone wrong there. All right, show in summary, show in print and post. Okay, when you hit print, which is the program only, the data that gets put in here, it's turned on and off by turning on show in print. So if I just exit, edit this training experience, and I'll turn on children. Probably wouldn't want to turn on children. This is by default off, and hit save and refresh this. Your printout will show the children. I'm not really sure why that's showing up with some numbers. I may have not saved properly. Let me just edit this again. Oh. Okay. It's loading properly. Let's publish that. All right. So if you wanted to display a lot more information on the printout, you can turn it on and off using show in print and post. And by default, we tick the ones that you need. So I'd normally want to turn show in print and post for the children. Show in diary mode. So that is the toggle for what you want to see in this diary mode. So if you wanted to show a lot more information or less, you can turn things on and off. So if you wanted to not show the children, for example, in the diary mode, you can turn that off. Hit save. And when I refresh this, children will disappear from this now. So what else have we got? Showing summary, I've just I think I've shown you that one. And the other one is show to parents. Okay, so when parents log into the portal or the app, they'll be able to see certain information. I'll just quickly jump into the app and switch to a parent. So this is what the parents normally see now. So just a summary of what your post, your program would look like as a post. And as it gets updated, it will slowly make its way back to the top. So throughout the day, if you got more posts being created, it'll end up moving down to the bottom. But the moment that you publish new changes to it, this post will move back to the top. Okay, so now if the parent clicks on this icon, takes them to the parent detail view. And this at the moment, if the children aren't tagged on some of these things, they won't show up in here. So with actually, okay. Let me just click out of this. So if I go back to my post, just need to check. access. Okay. All right. So if I wanted to customize what gets shown to the parents, so this field in here needs to be turned on and off on what they can see. Even though the children is ticked to show to parents, the program that they see on the mobile will only filter out the children that's been assigned to them. So even if I've tagged multiple children, it'll only say the children that they are linked to. So at least there they know if they had multiple children in the room, that they know that this one's for Omar instead of Michelle. All right. Jump in here. So we've got customizing experience templates. So there is quite a lot of things that you can turn on and off in there. I'll suggest that you guys have a good play at it and see what you guys feel happy with, what to display to the parents, and that way, with a lot of the information in there, you've got full control of what you want to display. So play around what's a good balance for your center. But if you do have any questions on what things that you're unsure of, just let us know. We're happy to help you guys out. I think I did both of these two sections in one go. So I think I've covered customizing the summary, print, and parent view. Now we'll go through linking posts. So as your program progresses, you'd want to link posts to it as you go along throughout the day. And to do that, you can either go and link it from up here. You can say create a link post against the program, which is the ability that you currently have now with your normal program. So you can create a post that's already linked to a program. But what's new with this is now you can link it to an experience. So now if you wanted to say, all right, I want to link a post just for this specific cell, I can click on the same icon, the create post icon, and I can say I want to create a post or a portfolio. So if I wanted to create a portfolio or a learning doc, now you have the ability to link to an actual learning doc. Just pick one of mine. Pick my days, mine. And once you pick portfolio, it populates it based on the children that's been tagged in that experience. So that way you don't have to know which ones to choose. If there was a group and there were no children selected, this would be left blank as well. But it will automatically pick what it can based on the value that you picked in this experience. All right, I'll just put in some minimal information. All right, so this post is now, again, just a standard post. Staff will be able to view that in the app, and so will the parent. But the beauty of it is if you now go into your posts in your program summary, all the posts that are linked will be displayed in here, but you also have the ability to filter based on the experience. So if you were talking to a parent, for example, or an auditor, they want to know more about how this experience went, you can click on the filter button, and this will show you all the posts that's been linked to it, and then you can explain in more detail on what's been completed during that day based on the post that's been created for only that specific experience. And you can filter in here as well. And if you click on all experiences, this will display all of the posts at the moment. At the moment, I've only got one. So you can continually add more, but you can only do that in the edit screen. So you can add as many posts and link as many posts or a portfolio to this experience or to the whole program by using this one. Okay. So that's linking posts. And finally, lastly, I've got I've only got 10 minutes. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Creating evaluations. At the moment, what you guys currently have, which is still valid in what we've got now in the templates, if you click edit, you've got the evaluation field. What we received feedback from most of you guys was that it wasn't enough. You wanted to be able to create an evaluation against a child. You want to be able to create an evaluation against multiple children, okay? And you want to be able to show them to the parent or only for staff only. So we created a completely new way of doing evaluations. So this text box, if you guys aren't going to be using it anymore, you can remove it out of your template if you guys are going to use the new way of creating evaluations. So in this case here, there is, I'm just going to mark this one as completed. Can I mark this one as completed? I can. Program. And I'm just going to quickly switch over to the app. All right, so this is the parent. This is what they currently see now if they click on the details of the program. They'll see that the children's in there has been picked. Still not sure why it's showing up with the numbers. I'll get that sorted out after this. Okay, so now we have this evaluation button in here. That's the square with the pencil. You can evaluate the entire program as a staff. So you can say, I want to create an evaluation. Say, I, Jane Smith, I want to create an evaluation for a constable. Extremely well. So you can write this evaluation for private only, or you can make it public. That anyone can see, only against the program. Okay, so if you're viewing the program as a parent, anything that you mark as public, they will all see. Unless it's been tagged as only one child, so only the parent of the child will see if you did public. Okay, but if you didn't mark any children, this evaluation would be available publicly to whoever has been tagged to this whole program. Okay, so if I just kept this one private, hit save. So that's an evaluation that's been created against this program by a staff. Okay, I can also create an evaluation against this experience. Let's say I wanted to say OWNA anything. So now if I hit public, only OWNA's parents will be able to see this, even though it says in here public, because I have tagged the child. So hit save, close that. Once you do evaluation, you don't need to hit publish because it's saved outside of the program. So this is the way this thing didn't light up. So now if I go in to the app again and just refresh this page, I'm logged in as OWNA's parent. So it will show up here, staff evaluation for this experience, and this will only appear, since only OWNA was tagged, it will show in here what evaluation that staff has provided for OWNA during that experience. The parents can also leave feedback in here. Thank you very much. Okay. So they can only, all of parents' feedback are private only at the moment. We will be looking at down the track of creating some collaboration between parents. Again, we're probably going to need to speak to centers and get some feedback whether it's a viable thing to put in, a feature that we can put in, or it may create a bit more issue down the track. So that's something that we'll be bringing out in phase 2 of custom programming. So now that the parents have left their own feedback, staff will now be able to see all of this feedback in the summary view. So in here, you've got the parent feedback. So when staff or the managers are evaluating the program that they created for the week. They can review all the feedback that they've received, any staff evaluation that they've done in here, and then probably create another program. If it's a successful program, replicate that program for the next week. Okay, I've got 5 minutes left. Just want to see creating programs experience. In terms of evaluation, you don't have to use that method of evaluation. You can keep it the same as how you've done it before, using the standard text boxes that's available in the template. And this evaluation will only show the parents that have been tagged in here. So if you wanted to just keep that one to keep it all simple, the only downside to that is you don't know which staff has done it. So if there's multiple staff that's created or that's worked in this experience with multiple children, they probably want to put their name in. Let's say here, Jane, this is my evaluation. And then if another person in here did do another evaluation, they can write a bit more. So that way, if you guys are evaluating the actual experience of the entire program, you know who's done which evaluation. So that was the limitation with just having one text box. Okay, and if you did save that, it will still appear as evaluation against the experience. Okay, but you don't have the granularity of which person did it at what time as well. I think that's pretty important. That's it for the training today. Again, I'll be hosting another one on Thursday. If there's still something that's not clear, I'll be going through exactly the same thing that I've gone through today. But